Hey guys,
what's going on?
How are you?
How are you?
Doing well.
How you doing?
I'm doing
All right.
great. Got your research?
Got my research. I'm set.
Your
Ready to go.
dedication is brought to you by Time Warner Cable.
So you see the trees I killed for this?
I see that. My goodness.
Are you open to having your mind changed about this, or is there already set?
I'm open to, but I'm a good researcher.
All right.
You heard that about me?
I'm
an intense.
Well, you're welcome.
Good. Are you open to having your mind changed?
Oh no, I will not.
In studio with us, Mayor Byron Brown. Mayor, thanks for coming in.
My pleasure to be with you.
Why are you here, by the way?
I am here to talk about red light cameras.
We are shocked. I wanted to open up by saying there is little chance that these red light cameras are going to do, I think, what you think they're going to do, which is generate insane amounts of revenue and make things safer. I think on both accounts, that's completely flawed. And if you take a look at the other cities who've already had these red light cameras and decided to get rid of them, it doesn't look good. For example, Jackson, Mississippi halted their red light camera program. Mississippi banning them October 1st. 5 cities in the Atlanta metropolitan area suspending or getting rid of their red light camera programs. And why is that?
Why?
Because they are adding 1 second to the yellow light time. And over again, you seem to see that if you add 1 extra second to the yellow light time, you get rid of the problem you're trying to get rid of, supposedly, which is intersection accidents. So I wanted to ask you, is this, I'll give you an easy one first, Byron. Is this about safety or revenue?
It's primarily about safety, but there certainly is a revenue component. What we want to do is safeguard some of the busiest, most heavily trafficked intersections in the city. And in doing that with these red light cameras, when people violate the law and run through a red light, they will be issued a ticket that will generate revenue, and that revenue will be put back into public safety so we can continue our efforts to reduce crime in the city of Buffalo.
When we hear it's going to be put back into public safety, I think it's safe to say, though, it's going to go back into the general fund, right?
No, our plan is not to put it back into the general fund. Since I've been mayor, we've added 108 police officers to our police department. Mm-hmm. We want to continue to grow the size of our police department. We've added 67 high-tech surveillance cameras, which have really contributed to reducing crime and open-air drug markets in the city of Buffalo.
Right. What if I gave you a situation that wouldn't cost a single dime and you'd get the same thing? Okay. Would you do it?
I'd look at it, sure.
All right. Increase the yellow light times by 1 second. It's as simple as that. This is the part that drives us nuts. It's everything that's cynical about politics. It's the thing we hate more than anything else, which is, hey, this is about safety. This is about safety. Hey, it's not about safety. My ass, it's about safety. At the end of the day, what is it about? It's about revenue. It's about making money. It's about saying it's about safety. And you get that component. That's great that you get that component about safety. But it's about the revenue. And city after city is finding they are making insane amounts of money initially off these cameras. I saw a quote, and this was from James Heaney in the Buffalo News, who said that your administration, Byron, said that you were going to write 1,800 tickets a day. That's insane.
What, with these red light cameras?
Yes. You had an estimate of 1,800 tickets a day. How could you look at the people in the city of Buffalo with a straight face and say, that's warranted? I've made the place safer for you on top of it all. I'm going to write 1,800 tickets a day.
Can I trade you quote
That's
for
nuts.
quote?
Okay, go ahead.
Another reporter at the Buffalo News, Rod Watson, rather.
Who hasn't returned my email yet?
Rod Watson
Yeah.
said to critics who call all of this a municipal money grab, think of it as a stupidity tax, and a voluntary one at that, meaning that if people do not violate the law and actually run through a red light, they will never get a ticket, and they will never have to pay the fine for getting the ticket.
Okay, but what if you increase the yellow light time by 1 second and it gets rid of the running of the red light?
Does the same thing?
It does the same thing, and you're not writing $50 tickets to a group of people, not only in the city but in Western New York,
and you
way overtaxed by New York State.
You make a great point. I'm not happy with the tax burden in New York State.
And you're adding another one with this.
I think it should be lowered, but this is not a tax. This is for people who violate the law. And one of the studies that we've looked at, in those municipalities where they do increase the yellow light time, so giving people more time to be able to move through a yellow light and not run a red light,
right?
People kind of adjust to that and still run the red light. Even though they have more time on yellow, they still run through the red light. And
I'm wondering where you get that research, because I haven't found that anywhere I've looked. I'll give you an example. Denver, the Rocky Mountain News. Denver right now is fighting with their red light camera company. They're not following their contract at all. And that's another thing you have to think about. You're now contracting. You're actually contracting out safety, which just doesn't sound like that makes sense in this day and age. You shouldn't have to do that, and we shouldn't have to pay for it. But their police data, they decided to talk them into, because up to this point, Denver was using the minimum 3 seconds of yellow light time. And despite engineering formulas calling for more, the city agreed to add time to 4 camera locations. According to the police data, where the yellow was boosted to 4 to 5 seconds, an average time of, or an average ticket rate of 9, 10, and 16 tickets were issued. That was from 125 before they increased the yellow light time.
It's quite a reduction.
That's an amazing reduction. There's something else that they throw out, Byron. They add a yellow light time, which is what Georgia did. They added a yellow light time of 1 second. The minute Georgia, the state of Georgia, added 1 second, the cameras had to go away because they weren't paying for themselves. That's something else. You have to make a certain nut. You have to make a certain amount of money to keep these cameras viable. When they're not viable anymore, what are you going to do? Are you going to start losing money on these? Let's say, for example, you're losing money at this point.
You get rid of them if they're not paying for themselves. Of course you do.
You've spent that money at this point, and then you've put up these cameras. All right. What they found, though, when they increased in Georgia 1 second of yellow light time, was they had to get rid of the cameras, and they're doing it over and over again. Denver, same deal. They're finding these great numbers on getting it. One other idea was thrown out, add a second. But not only that, allow a 4-way red for another second. So, in other words, you're coming up to the light. It's green. It's yellow. 1, 2, 3, 4. Red. Everybody's red for a second or two. And then move forward. Incredible numbers. It's overwhelming. But here's the thing that drives us nuts about this. It doesn't generate any revenue. So why don't you just come out and say, well, this is a city that needs the money, and we can use the money, and on top of it all, we could say, yeah, there's a little bit of safety that comes with it. We have a forklift outside of all the studies that show increased yellow light time could actually benefit the city, make it safer, and not cost the overtaxed people of Western New York a single dime. And we will give them to you. I'll give you one more.
Okay.
The authors of this study from the Tennessee Center for Policy Research report that a 1 second boost in yellow light time in Mesa, Arizona, by the way, crazy as it sounds, where these cameras come from, cut accidents by 73%, similar decreases in Fort Collins, Colorado. Virginia, 94% decrease in citations. I mean, it's just on and on and on, and it seems like common sense. If you're serious about looking at yellow light times, that's going to throw this the rolling ball down the hill, this momentum for red light cameras, throws it off a little bit. We hope you're serious about it.
I am serious about it. And I understand what you're saying, and I understand your passion. And we don't want people to get tickets who are law-abiding citizens, which why the point that you have made about increasing the yellow light time makes a lot of sense. I commit to you on this program, we will look at that. But at the same time...
It was 5:35 when he said it.
Yes.
Flag that, Joshua. Flag it. He will commit. I'm not sure what that means, but he says he will commit to looking into it. We are going to fight this, Mayor Byron Brown. We hope that you commit to the yellow light time first before going into business with these thieves in Arizona who run these red light camera company. Mayor Byron Brown, thanks for coming in studio. We got to take a break, yes?
Yes, indeed.
All right.